Hola alumnos, hoy estudiamos los adjetivos posesivos. La información para esta lección está en las páginas 56 y 57. So, when we are discussing possession, we are going to do it in two ways in Spanish. The first way that we are going to refer to possession, or we are going to refer to something being owned by someone, is to use the preposition de. So we're going to use de before a noun to show possession. When we are using de right before the article el, we need to make sure that we change that to the contraction del, which is spelled D-E-L. For example, if we wanted to say that Ana is Victor's mother, we will say Ana es la madre de Victor. If we wanted to say the book bag is the girl's, or we're saying the book bag belongs to the girl, we will say la mochila es de la niña. However, if we wanted to say that the computer belongs to the professor, the computer is the professor's, and we are saying professor as in a male professor, el profesor, we would say la computadora es del profesor. Remember, we are using the contraction del because we have the preposition de followed by the article el. The next way we can show possession or ownership is with what are called possessive adjectives. On page 57, in la página 57, it tells us that possessive adjectives can also be used to show ownership. When we are using possessive adjectives, notice the key word here is adjectives. Remember, in Spanish, our adjectives need to modify our nouns. So with most possessive adjectives, we need to make sure, or with all possessive adjectives, we need to make sure that they modify the noun in number. Meaning, if it's singular, if the noun is singular, the possessive adjective needs to be singular. If the noun is plural, the possessive adjective needs to be plural. Likewise, in the nosotros and the vosotros form, we need to make sure that the possessive adjectives not only modify the nouns in number, singular or plural, but also in gender, representing whether or not they're masculine or feminine. So let's take a look at our chart. Using the chart that we have on our lesson guide, let's take a look and see what are our possessive adjectives for each of our pronouns. If we wanted to say my, as in my father, notice that father is singular. We have one column for singular and one column for plural. So the possessive adjective for my is mi. Notice that does not have an accent mark. Do not include an accent mark. So my father, mi padre. If we were saying my parents, plural, we would say mis padres. In the next line, the next row, we have your. We're talking about the informal your. If we're talking about a friend or a child, someone to whom we would refer as to. For that pronoun, if we wanted to say your, as in your dog, we would say tu perro. Your dogs, tus perros. For third person singular, if we wanted to say his, her, its, or your, remember your being the formal singular, or the one, if we were referring to this person in the usted form, if we wanted to say your friend, we would use the possessive adjective su. So we would say su amigo. Your friends would be sus amigos. Now we come to the little tricky part. Remember, not only in the nosotros form are we concerning ourselves with whether or not the noun is modified based on its number, but also its gender. So here we have 4 different examples: tío, tía, tíos, and tías. For tío, masculine and singular, we will say nuestro. So our uncle would be nuestro tío. The feminine singular form, tía, we also need to make sure that our possessive adjective is feminine and singular. Nuestra tía. For the masculine and plural form, tíos, the possessive adjective needs to be masculine and plural. Nuestros tíos. For the feminine plural form, we need to make sure the possessive adjective is also feminine and plural. Nuestras tías. Muy bien. In like manner, we also need to make sure that this is done in the vosotros form. So if we wanted to say your, now remember, vosotros, we're talking about you informal, okay? So we're saying your informal. Maybe we're talking to a group of children. We wanted to say your brother, vuestro hermano. Your sister, vuestra hermana. Your brothers, vuestros hermanos. Your sisters, vuestras hermanas. Excelente. And finally, we are going to look at a third person plural. If we wanted to say their, or we're saying your, formal, and then also remember, outside of Spain, we can use this for informal as well. Whenever we want to say a group of persons, when we're talking to you, we are going to use the third person plural. So, third person plural is actually going to use the same possessive adjectives as third person singular. So if we wanted to say your brother-in-law, su cuñado. Your brother-in-laws, or your brothers-in-law, we will say sus cuñados. Muy bien. So practice using your possessive adjectives. And until next time, nos vemos.